Hey guys, and welcome back to episode 79 of the Sim Racing Show. And this week it's all about the battle for the future of sim racing, Project Motor Racing versus Rennsport. I've played both, albeit Rennsport in the early access of Deluxe and Project Motor Racing at the Sim Racing Expo, so I'm going to let you know my thoughts. We're also going to talk about NASCAR 25 finally launching on PC, some big news from iRacing, updates from Le Mans Ultimate, including good news for console racers, maybe, Wreckfest 2 early access, JDM new DLC, and even Euro Truck Simulator 2 doing something interesting. And that's even before Assetto Corsa Rally, which is the big game launching this week. So much sim racing going on in the month of November. So first off, let's start with Project Motor Racing. There's another update with new cars coming. So the BMW M Hybrid V8 has been confirmed to join the grid when the game launches on November 25th. It's actually the first BMW confirmed for Project Motor Racing, which is quite unusual, and it's going to be a hypercar, obviously lining up alongside other LMDH cars from Aston Martin, Lamborghini, Toyota, Porsche, Acura and Cadillac. So the endurance side of Project Motor Racing is looking serious, but that's not it, because BMW isn't the only new marque coming to Project Motor Racing. Straight 4 Studios have confirmed a couple more Group C legends, so the Nissan R89C and the absolutely legendary Jaguar XJR9. They are just iconic cars. So I played Project Motor Racing at the Sim Racing Expo. I found it very difficult, very challenging. I found it very tyre dependent. I have a funny feeling that the physics is not going to work for every car. It's not going to be like Gran Turismo just after launch, where kind of you could drive every car. Gran Turismo now, by the way, the force feedback you have to do differently on different cars was quite interesting. And I feel like Project Motor Racing is going to be like that to an extreme. So let's see what happens to Project Motor Racing. I wouldn't expect it to be the best game on console either. We've seen with Rennsport what happens when you have to tone things down on console. But just kind of keep your powder dry for Project Motor Racing. I'm cautiously optimistic, but I think it could be divisive. Now let's get on to Rennsport, because it's left early access and beta and whatever it was before. It's now out in the wild. The full launch on November 13th, but the deluxe edition allowed players to play early. I got a review copy as well. I played it quite a lot. I played it on PC and I played it on PS5 Pro. My initial thoughts are it's kind of like Gran Turismo Sport 2 on PC. I think actually on PS5 Pro, the graphics are really a number of levels down over what you get on the PC version. But on the PC version, you're kind of doing daily racing on PC, which is quite nice. Definitely not like full hardcore sim. We're talking Simcade here. I don't know if they're using the language Simcade, but I'd use Simcade like Gran Turismo Sport, for example. Now, the game I think has been quite controversial coming out. You have to pay for liveries, which is super controversial, and the single player content looks really poor. Personally, I don't really care about the single player content, and I'm not going to buy these liveries anyway. I feel like what they're trying to do is bring all this esports, games as a service stuff in sim racing, and we're very cautious about it because we don't want too much of that monetization coming into sim racing. So that's my hunch on that. Now, the developers have already promised rapid fire updates. They say they're going to improve the overall player experience, and the first patch is already in progress and could land this week. Now, that's what they say. What I say is that the main issue I have with Rennsport is that apparently on Xbox, most people can't use their steering wheels. I think that's really bad. I think surely they should have known this. Surely they would have sent codes to Xbox influencers. They say they're working on a hot patch or fix for this really quickly. Let's hold them to that, because if you pre-ordered this game on Xbox, you should expect your standard wheels like G29, Moser R3s, etc. Fanatec's to work on it. Now, the full content roadmap is also being built on, so stuff like VR support coming back in and dynamic weather, but I'm not sure where we're going to be with multiplayer lobbies, and that's another issue I have with the game, which is that I want to spend more time racing and less time looking at lobby screens. So the more lobbies are available, the more I can get into it. They're also talking about paid DLC coming in December, bringing Le Mans and 3 endurance legends. That's the Porsche 911 GT1, Mercedes-Benz CLK LM, and the Porsche 956, are classic cars. And then early next year, the Touring Classic Pack. To be honest, I would rather they really focused on GT3s. I feel like if they can just nail the daily racing Simcade GT3s at Spa, at Monza, at Daytona, then that's the best chance Rennsport has of actually kind of getting players to stay in Rennsport. Now let's go to Le Mans Ultimate, because Motorsport Games did a financial update, which I've been covering for years now. This is one of the more positive ones for them. They've been making more money, and they said they're targeting a console release in late 2026 or early 2027. I'll put touch wood. I'm going to say that's going to be late 2027. So I think we're still 2 years away from Le Mans Ultimate coming on console. And again, I expect it to be heavily nerfed on console. Who knows where we're going to be with next gen consoles by 2027? The current gen consoles will be 7 years old by then. So maybe we will need something like a PS6 to really have the grunt for these third party racing publishers and developers to bring sim racing to console in a big way. Because at the moment, I feel like Gran Turismo is standing a little bit head and shoulders above all the other console racing sims when it comes to content and just stability. So that's where we are with Le Mans Ultimate at the moment, coming to console, but it doesn't seem to be a massive priority. They're still trying to steady the ship. Now next we're going to talk about NASCAR 25 and all the other stuff. But first, a big thank you again to Instant Gaming for sponsoring this video. So if you are going to pick up Le Mans Ultimate, Set Corsa Evo, ACC, or literally any racing title they have, check my affiliate link in the description, because there's some crazy prices there. As always, Le Mans Ultimate is 52% off and costs just $22. Evo 37% off, costs $29. Project Motor Racing in pre-order 40% off and costs $41. I think Le Mans Ultimate for $22, I think before tax, it's kind of a crazy price, because it's almost a price that you're like, well, I may as well try it. So big thanks to Instant Gaming for sponsoring this video. Now for the Oval fans out there, NASCAR 25 is finally out on Steam. So interesting, it was like an inverse launch. 1 month after hitting consoles, they dropped the PC version. And the reaction's been mixed, as you might expect from any racing game these days. People on controller seem to be more positive about it. They're happy for just a good console NASCAR game. But apparently on the wheel, it's really rough. And on PC, you'd expect more people to be on wheels. Broken or missing force feedback. Wheels not being recognized. No H pattern, no sequential, no proper bindings. Restarting the game needed to rebind input, but for some people not working. Black screen, stuck menus, DualSense not working, and one guy saying he had to tear his rig apart just to realise the game doesn't even support mouse input in menus. But the interesting thing is that some veteran NASCAR players are actually defending the game. They're saying don't compare it to iRacing because it's not supposed to be a hardcore sim. And again, I find that very interesting, because I feel we have this spectrum of sim racing from ultra hardcore sim realism to kind of sim KD, more about just like getting to the fun a bit quicker. And the games all tend to talk about being sims, but actually sim is now a big spectrum. So interesting. Now speaking of iRacing, they've launched their Black Friday sale. So they do this every year. You know the drill. If you don't know the drill, let me explain to you. If you're thinking of getting iRacing, now is the time to do it in this short window. And if you want to get a longer term subscription, you get a big discount. This year it's 50% off. So a full year of iRacing for a new member costs $55 instead of $110. So if you're thinking about doing it, just get the year, get it 50% off. And for active members, it's 25% off. So not super generous for active members. I've personally resubscribed with a 25% off discount. If you are thinking about resubscribing or subscribing for the first time, go use my affiliate link for iRacing in the description. If you do subscribe, they send me some iRacing credits, which I use to buy cars and tracks and do content on iRacing. Go check out my iRacing beginner guide as well on YouTube if you're worried about what iRacing entails. But basically, this is the window where it's the best time of the year to actually subscribe or resubscribe to iRacing. Now let's get on to something that's maybe on the other end of the spectrum from iRacing, which is Wreckfest 2. That quietly dropped another early access update with no big marketing push. No fireworks really, it was just straight up content. They've got like a customization mode now, which is being added for free, obviously, although in Rennsport you have to pay for delivery, so maybe not obviously for free. There's also a new car and track. They added a Beetle style buggy and a reworked version of Crash Canyon, which is incredible. I've driven this. It's a lot of fun. Wreckfest 2 for me is one of the best examples of early access. They're doing it right, and they probably deserve more praise for it. So if you have a Wreckfest 2 code, go check out the update, because for me it's working better than ever and I was having so much fun in Canyon. Now JDM Japanese Driftmaster has finally got that Made in USA DLC pack. So that is the Ford GT40, Mustang Fastback and a Dodge Viper lookalike. However, they look to be unlicensed, so it's a bit cheeky. Not sure how they're getting away with it, but they're doing it. So that's where we are with JDM. And Euro Truck Simulator 2 is rolling out 1.57 open beta. It's got 2 new Scandinavian cities, HDR support, dynamic cargo animations, updated Scania trucks with new engines and transmissions. So just keep doing a load of stuff. Now, 2 more things I want to let you know about. GTA 6 has been delayed. I care about that because that could be the biggest racing game in the world. That's been delayed to November 2026. And also Assetto Corsa Rally comes out as I record this tomorrow. So keep an eye out for Assetto Corsa Rally content, because that was my favourite game to play at the Sim Racing Expo. I really enjoyed it. Please subscribe if you enjoy the Sim Racing Show. Please share this video on the forums so people can be up to date, no nonsense with sim racing. And I will see you in next week's episode.